Hi there, I'm Austin Karak, owner of Stitch Real Estate Transaction Coordination Company, and welcome back to my channel. If you've been watching and enjoying any of my other videos, I hope you will hit the subscribe button. We are always looking to make more great content for you, and I hope you enjoyed this video as well. All right, so the topic of today's video I feel like is long awaited. I am constantly getting asked about software, TC software from you. You guys want to know, what are you using? What do you recommend, etc. So I want to work on another video breaking down all kinds of different softwares, but I wanted to do an official review of AFrame as a transaction management software. I have been using it for a couple months now, so I feel like I've got a good feeling for it and want to give you guys my official review. So I switched to AFrame from open to close. So many people were recommending it and speaking greatly about it, and I was looking for a software that would work really well for my team before I got them all set up and onboarded, and so that's what inspired me to make a switch. I also have heard great things. They have a Facebook support group. They're really working on updating the platform for transaction coordinators. So these were all kind of things you may have heard too. And so they really inspired me to make the switch. So what I'm gonna do, I have my notes here. I have a whole list of different features of AFrame, and I'm gonna talk about all of those, how I use them for my business, what's most important to me, things like that. This is not all inclusive. They have all kinds of other features that you can use, but this is what I've utilized so far and what I look for in any kind of platform like this. And then at the end, I'll kind of give you an overall rating of my experience with AFrame so far. All right, so let's dive in. So to start, I'm gonna go over, I have a core 3 items that I look at in any transaction coordination management software. So those, like if we don't have those 3, then I'm not even doing the free trial, okay? And most systems do have all of these, so you probably won't really come across that. But just so you know, the first 3 are gonna be my absolute top 3 non-negotiable things I look for in any software that I use. All right, so number 1 is going to be fillable email templates, merge fields to create email templates. And so I'm going to be speaking specifically about AFrame. So all of these features are available in AFrame and how I use them. So fillable email templates. AFrame has these with merge fields, and what I mean by this, if this is all new to you, is that you can create an email template, which you will often use. You will create email templates for many things. You could have hundreds of email templates as a transaction coordinator. And what you can do, instead of just saving these in like your Gmail or something like that, is within AFrame, you can copy any email templates you have existing into AFrame. And then you can use the merge fields they provide to auto-populate information. So what I mean by this is when I get a new contract or a new listing or something like that, I input it in my system. I'm putting in the party information, the key dates, the price, other key terms and items of the transaction. Then when I go to create an email, I can have the email template auto-populate that information. So an example of this is I can say, hi, buyer merge field, please deposit your earnest money deposit of earnest money merge field. I can create a template like that in the AFrame email template system. And then when I'm inside the transaction, I'll go to create the email, and instead of saying, hi buyer, hi earnest money, it'll say, hi John, please deposit your earnest money deposit of $5,000. It will pull the email I've already put, not the email, it will pull the information I've already put in the transaction into the emails. This is absolutely huge. When I first started, I used Gmail templates, so I'd have things that said like price, buyer name, etc., close date, things like that. But then I would manually type in the buyer's name, the closing date, the property address, all of those things. Like I had the base checklist, but I had to add the actual data from the transaction. This literally would take me about an hour to start a new transaction and get the initial emails out. As soon as I started using merge fields, I was able to cut that down to about 30 minutes. And now just over time, I've gotten it down to about 20 minutes. If you're wanting to scale, you can see how that makes a huge difference. So it's amazing to me and an absolute requirement to have this. So in AFrame, they make it really simple. You upload your email templates to the actual email template file. There you can add all kinds of merge fields. I think there's probably over 100 of them for, title company name, buyer name, seller name, earnest money amount, closing date, termination option date, all kinds of different things. You can pre-populate those. So then when you go to create an email, it's all already done. I just double check one more time that the information I entered was correct based off the content. contract, then my email is good to send out. Some other features of this, you can pre-populate who you want it to send to. So when I'm opening this email or making this email template, I'm putting please CC lender, please CC my agent, please CC other agent, BCC me, however you want to set it up. You can even do the subject line, and you can add reminders in your templates to make sure you attach certain documents if you need to. So it is a huge time saver. It not only saves time, but it also helps eliminate human error. You're just putting the information in once, then the system's reading it. Whereas before, I was putting it in once, then I was copying it, then I would have to check, make sure my spelling was good, that I did this. It eliminates a whole human error aspect, which is huge, plus the time saving. So fillable email templates with merge fields are an absolute must for me, and they're really easy to use in AFrame. So that is a point for AFrame so far. All right, my core feature number 2 that I'm always looking for is a centralized dashboard where I can see all my tasks and transactions. So every TC works a little differently. There are a lot of TCs who like to work in one file at a time. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that's actually not how I prefer to work and recommend, because you could get stuck in a file for too long and miss something potentially important on another file. So I like to work off one centralized dashboard that shows all of my tasks I need to do for the day. And another feature I like of this dashboard is that you can look ahead for certain days that are upcoming. You can see anything that's overdue and reschedule it. There's all kinds of features. I'm gonna go more into the dashboard features in AFrame a little later in the video, but just having a centralized page. So the main dashboard page in AFrame, you can see your transactions and you can see your tasks, you can see key dates, there's a search place, there's a goal tracking. It's really nice. And then from there, I go into the daily focus tab where I just see all my tasks for the day and also all my deadlines. So there's all kinds of different ways you can set this up too, and they're continuously updating it. So depending on when you watch this video, things may have changed on the look of it. But having one dashboard where I can see all of my tasks for the day is absolutely critical to me. I like to work by time blocking type of task or agent typically. And so being able to see all of those versus having to click into each file and see what I need to do today is an absolute must for me for time blocking and streamlining and everything like that. So I love having the one centralized dashboard that has kind of an overview of everything going on in your business. And then the daily focus dashboard, which tells me exactly what I need to do that day, AKA daily focus. Love it. All right, and number 3 on absolutely non-negotiable things I require in a TC software is easy to use and customize task templates. So I've talked about email templates first. Now I want to talk about task templates. If this is new to you, what a task template is essentially is once you open a new transaction in the system, you can apply a task template and it will automatically tell you what to do for the transaction and when. So if you're looking for resources, like on our website, we have a free seller contract to close checklist you can download. Those are the kind of things I would take that checklist and then I would create tasks for every item on those checklists in the AFrame task template creator. Then when I open my transaction, I can apply that task template, and that's where all those tasks are going to then show up on my daily focus tab and my dashboard. So if that sounds a little confusing, I'll give some examples. So essentially, when we open a new contract, one of the things we need to do is send an introduction email to everyone. So I can create a task template, and the first task I can create on there says send introduction email to all parties. Then when I add that template to a transaction, it will tell me to do that, and it will tell me everything else to do from there until closing. So what you need to do and take a little bit of time to set up when you first get started in AFrame or really any software is you need to take your existing checklist that you've written out and create it into a task template. And other features of these task templates are really important. This is not just going to pop up as a list. Things you can do in AFrame is you can make it intuitive. So you are able to have it say, okay, I need to confirm receipt of the earnest money 3 days after the effective date. So when you start the transaction, you'll put the effective date of the transaction in, and then 3 days later, the system will tell you to follow up on the earnest money if you've set it up that way. So it's really intuitive in terms of being able to do things after a certain date. You can do this many days before the date, this many days after the date. You can add notes to yourself, links, reminders. It really becomes an all-encompassing checklist of everything you need to do. And it auto-populates the days you need to do things. So when I add a task template to a new transaction, it doesn't give me 50 things to do automatically. It says, okay, today, Allison, you need to do these 3 things. Tomorrow, you need to do these 2 things. Next day, you need to do these 5 things, etc. And you can break it down that way and see exactly what you need to do every day. And these tasks then go on your main dashboard. So that's how it all kind of ties together. But it's really important to me to have easy to use and create task templates, easy to customize. Like I said, AFrame makes it really easy to customize in terms of adding notes, adding colors, priority flags, adding when this is happening, this many days before or after a key date, or just selecting a general date for it to happen. There's all kinds of different stuff you can put in there. And so it's really nice to use for sure. And I like that they're easy to duplicate. And so what I mean by this is I have a base like buyer contract close checklist. Anytime I have an agent who asks me for something a little different, or maybe their brokerage just has some different requirements, and I want to make sure instead of having to remember that, I put it on a task template just for them, I'll duplicate my basic template. I'll rename it the agent's name, buyer contract to close, or whatever it is, and then I will make any edits specific to them or their brokerage or their team, whatever, on the task template. Now they have their own custom task template that I can use on their transactions. Took me 2 minutes to set up because I was just able to duplicate my base one and just make some edits. And now I'm not going to forget that their brokerage requires some XYZ document or something like that, or that they like to send a specific utility concierge email or something like that. I'm able to now have custom task templates that are just for them. I do this for email templates too, but easy to use, create, customize, duplicate task templates is absolutely huge, and that they're intuitive in terms of reading key dates and things like that. That's my third absolute non-negotiable. So AFrame does a great job of that too. Okay. And then now going into just other features that I like of AFrame. So as I mentioned, I moved my team over to AFrame when we first got everyone trained and onboarded. And I really like the easy team integration. So if you haven't followed me for a while, to give you some background, I worked primarily as a contractor. I've always worked by myself. When I started my own company, I was doing it myself until I decided to bring on a couple team members. And so it's important to me now to have a software that helps integrate a team structure. But I want to advise you that, AFrame is still great for a solo TC. And if you also maybe have hopes one day of having a team or other people on your team, or even if you don't, it's really, really hard to switch softwares and save all your files and set everything up. It's time consuming. So start with a system, a software that has room to grow. Even if you don't think that's one of your desires, I would say it doesn't hurt. And as I mentioned with AFrame specifically, it's also great just for a solo TC. But as someone with a team, if you have a team or want a team one day, I really like the team integration. And a couple of things I mean by this is that it's really easy when you're creating a new transaction. You add yourself as the main coordinator. I can also add one of my team members as coordinator number 2. This means they'll be able to see the transaction, they'll access everything, they can work within it in terms of handling tasks, uploading documents, leaving notes, updating dates, things like that. And so it's really easy for us, if someone's out of town or sick or something and someone needs to step in, we can add them to the transaction, or maybe it's just a transaction where we're going to split the responsibilities, we can add them there. Makes it super easy for everyone to still have their own account, but be able to see the transactions that they need to and work on those. And if someone's covering for someone out of town, we can add that other TC during that week. And then as soon as the other TC's back, we could even remove them. So it makes it really easy for multiple people working on a file, especially for coverage reasons. But also you can assign tasks to them. So when I've been out of town, I add a coordinator from my team to the file. And then I'll go into the tasks that are going to come up while I'm gone, and I can assign the tasks to them so that they're popping up on their main daily focus dashboard of what they need to do. So it just makes it super simple to add people to files, to have a team set up. If you're the main admin of the team, it's really easy to add members and set up their profiles and things like that. And then working in the day-to-day, if you have more than one TC working on a file, if someone's covering for someone, assigning tasks, letting them work on the file, adding them, stuff like that. You can see all their notes, you can see what they uploaded, what tasks they did, when, what they've written, everything. So if someone needs to jump back in, or you're sharing and someone needs to jump in one day or the other, it's super nice. From the features I've used on team integration, that is a huge plus. So I really enjoy that feature as well. All right, and another feature I want to go to is goal tracking. So I used to keep a separate spreadsheet of, an income goal we want to hit and also finding ways to track our transactions, just because it can be a little confusing because, you may have other sources of income, if you're doing listings or if you have compliance or a lease or something like that. And so you're not able to just necessarily break down your income number and figure out how many transactions you close. So I love that AFrame has a goal tracking feature. This is actually something I had never noticed in another platform that I use. So not saying maybe it wasn't available, but I never noticed it. And it's right there on your main dashboard. So when you log in the morning, you can see where you're at with your goals. So there's a couple different ways you can set goals. You can do GCI, total sales volume. Those don't really apply as much as the TC. And I believe they're working on some more TC specific goals. But the way I have it set up, and I like this for teams too, I have a personal transaction count goal and a personal, you could do a personal income goal as the TC. But I also have a goal for our team. So how much money do you want the team to make? How many transactions do you want the team to close? And I can just toggle back and forth between my statistics and the team statistics right there on the dashboard. So every morning I can get reminded of where we stand on our goals. Do we need to work harder? Are we doing great? Should we reward ourselves? We're on pace, anything like that. So I use stuff to track that separately. So having a goal tracking integration within the AFrame software is really awesome. Okay. The next thing I want to go over that AFrame has that I have not seen in a lot of other softwares is prospecting features. So AFrame is made for agents, teams, and transaction coordinators and teams. So you may view the prospecting looks a little more like it's agent friendly. But as TCs, if you're not just working for a team, if you're prospecting, trying to get your own clients and things like that, you are doing lead generation. And that's something you should prioritize. So having that within your one system is huge. Like I said, I really just use AFrame, and then I'll log into other systems as tools as I need to. But I mean, I've got my goal tracking, my prospecting, all my transactions. I can check on my teams, all that kind of stuff. So that is huge in terms of staying within one system, which is awesome. And so having prospecting is great. I haven't played around with it too much, to be honest, but I'm really looking forward into doing that in the relatively near future. So I will follow up on my thoughts on that. But just the idea of having somewhere to track, how many contacts you're making, what's your goals of people to reach out to, things like that. I think that is just absolutely huge and really awesome and a really great feature. All right, and I have 3 more to cover. So next up is calendar integration. You'll see this in a lot of softwares, but one thing I like about AFrame is they have a calendar within the software that you can use, and then you can also add it to your Google Calendar, or there's probably other things. I've seen Gmail and Google Calendar, so that's what we're affiliated with. But I affiliate it with that. I like to see just my key dates. So in most softwares, and I believe in AFrame, you can have all your tasks show up on your Google Calendar. But to me, what I always tell people is maybe that sounds good when you have 5 transactions, but if you have 100, then you literally can't even see on your calendar. So you have so many tasks to do. I'll have a day easily where there's 100 tasks to do in one day. And so if all of those are on my Monday on my calendar, I'm not gonna see anything else. But like I've said in other videos, I check my deadlines first thing in the morning. I triple check them, and I'm going to do another video about that, but AFrame is very helpful in this for me. And first thing I do is I look at my Google Calendar. One, to see what's on my docket besides just transaction work. Do I have meetings? Do I have calls? Do I have anything scheduled? And then I'll look and have all my key dates on there. So they'll show me, hey, we've got an option period ending at 5 o'clock today. Oh, I should check on that. Oh, today's closing date for this. I should check on that. And so looking at all of those things is really helpful, but I believe you can also use the task if that works for you. It's just not my recommendation. But I really like that they have a calendar I can look at in there if I didn't want to share it to my Google Calendar, or maybe whatever calendar your system you're using doesn't integrate. But I also love being able to see all just the key dates on my calendar and the calendar integration. Following up on that, I want to talk about Gmail integration. So basically, we send all of our emails through AFrame, but they send through our Gmail. So what makes this nice is that when I'm working on a file or a couple files, I'll just close out of my Gmail tab. And then I can create emails from my email templates I mentioned at the beginning of the video and send them straight from AFrame. This is huge because I used to have to prepare the email in the software, but then copy and paste it into Gmail and then send it because I wanted to use the merge fields, but I didn't like how the email system sent, and that's just kind of a waste of time and potentially could have an error. So being able to send things directly through your Gmail, but through AFrame, is awesome. That way I can X out of my Gmail where there may be new things coming in or responses to things that may be distractions. But when I'm just sending emails, being able to send those through the system is really great for focusing, time blocking, and just ease of everything. So that's a great thing too. All right. And then kind of a miscellaneous item that other people might not understand, but I really like, is the ability to create a miscellaneous task. So in previous experience with other softwares, every task had to be tied to a transaction. And sometimes there's just a day where I have a random task to do, right? Maybe I need to do an administrative task. I need to send something to someone or do an accounting, bookkeeping thing, or just a little reminder for myself, something for the business that's not tied to prospecting or tied to specific transaction. And you have just a miscellaneous task as a business owner or even just a freelance contracted team TC, whatever it may be, you're gonna have a random task you wanna do. So I can create just from my daily focus dashboard, a just miscellaneous task. It'll still pop up. I can select the date, I can prioritize it, everything, but I don't have to tie it to a transaction. You can if you need to, but sometimes I have miscellaneous, like work on this or follow up on this, something even personal, whatever it may be. And so having a place to make miscellaneous tasks is really key for one reason. I'm a huge, promoter of using one system or as few systems as possible. So I used to have to, maybe make a sticky note on my desk if there was a random business task I needed to do, or, go update that template later or whatever it is. Don't have time to do it now, but want to remember to do it later. It's not tied to a transaction, something like that. Since I don't have that, I don't have to do that because in AFrame, they give me the ability to create a miscellaneous task. So I could create that as a task, and it's showing up on my task of things to do that day. So it's just really nice to not have, a to-do list over here, a to-do list over here, a to-do list over there. You can have all your transaction management tasks, your lead follow-up task, and miscellaneous task all within one system is really clutch. All right, and the last feature I wanna highlight, I hope you are still watching the video. Please watch this point because it's really important in how I work and prioritize and do my day-to-day business, which is on that main dashboard I talked about, the daily focus tab. Having the ability to filter and prioritize my task. So what I mean by this is on some dashboards, it kind of can just look like a long list. Maybe you could color code it or something, but it just doesn't work the same way. AFrame has really nailed this in my opinion. I can, first of all, there are 3 flag options. There's a red flag, a yellow flag, and a blue flag. I prioritize all my most urgent high priority items as red flags and then second tier priority items as yellow flags. Everything else after that, I don't assign a color to, and that's exactly how I work through my day. So first thing I check on my deadlines, then I go to my dashboard, I click the red flag filter, and then it only shows me my red task. So I check on all my red tasks, urgent, fire, SOS items first thing in the morning. Once I've addressed those, I delete that filter and I add a yellow flag filter. Then I check on all my yellow flag items. And then after that, I'll delete that filter and then it'll just show my whole dashboard and everything that's left. So there's all kinds of different ways you can work with that, but that's an example. Other features I like that you can filter by agent you're working with. So I can go up and I can just search. There's a little search bar at the top of the daily focus tab that shows all your tasks, and you can search for anything. So I can search the agent's name. I could search the client's name, buyer or seller. I can also search a keyword. So if you watch my other videos, if you haven't watched my time blocking video, I'll see if I can link it below, but if not, head to my channel and watch that because this will kind of give you a lot of clarity on that too. So for example, I could search the word appraisal. Then it's gonna pop up any task for today or whatever time period I've selected that say appraisal. So I could shoot out a couple really quick emails to Linda, say, hey, what's status of the appraisal? Hey, what's status of the appraisal? Hey, what's status of the appraisal? And then move those to the next day to follow up on really easily. They have so many great features I don't think I have time for in this video. Maybe I can do a really detailed video about the dashboard and how I use it. But you can snooze things. You can really easily move the dates around, all kinds of stuff. So if you think that video would be helpful for you, drop me a comment below. But main thing I wanted to focus on today was the filtering and the prioritizing. So I can filter by agent, I can filter by name in the task, client name, keyword, priority flag that I flagged it, and date that it is on. And so it's just really huge for time blocking, being efficient, particularly if you like to work by, you know, agent name or client name or task type. But if you like to work by address too, and you don't want to click into the whole transaction, you can search for the address too. So it's just really great. It has all of the filtering features. If I had to pick a 4 non-negotiable item to look for in a software, this would be it, being able to easily filter my tasks throughout the day. This helps me prioritize, make sure I'm getting the most important things done. It also helps me work quickly and efficiently because I can keep my mind on the same agent, stay logged into their system, or on the same type of task, just keep my brain thinking the same way. So that's pretty huge for me. So that's kind of what I wanted to end on. But those are some of my top features I've been utilizing in AFrame and really enjoying. My absolute AFrame review, I didn't even think about this beforehand, or maybe you'll do a number out of 10. I'm gonna give it a solid 8.5 maybe. And I don't even know off the top of my head what I would change, but it's only been a couple months. They're continuing to make updates and I'm really enjoying it. I don't have any plans of moving myself or my team off the software anytime soon. So if you're looking for a TC software, I would absolutely super highly recommend AFrame. And like I said, if you want me to go into more detail about any of the features I talked about in this video or how I utilize them, drop me a comment below and I will go over that for you guys. So let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching. As I mentioned, really couldn't recommend AFrame enough. Would love to hear your feedback as well. If there's a different software maybe I've used you want me to highlight, drop me a comment below on that too. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel so I can keep making great content for you. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.